By now, the entire world is aware of the lynching of Ahmaud Arbery in Brunswick, Georgia. Over the next several weeks and months, I suspect that the news cycle will diligently cover multiple angles of the story. New details will emerge, even as existing details are being analyzed. As the details continue to emerge, new perspectives will be presented in lockstep. The basic facts of this case, however, are pretty clear. Two white men, a father and his son, spotted and subsequently stalked an unarmed black man. Before getting in their pickup truck, they made sure to arm themselves with a shotgun and a .357 Magnum. They rode this man down, allegedly because they suspected him of trespassing on a property in their neighborhood. They, along with a third accomplice who recorded the event, then shot this unarmed man 3 times, leaving him dead, face down, in the middle of the street, in broad daylight. This is the quintessential definition of a public lynching. Whether or not Ahmaud was guilty of trespassing, he was tried by these two men and sentenced to die in the street. A lynching. The obvious truth of this story is that this father and son are misguided racists. They publicly executed a black man and will hopefully be seen for what they are, and subsequently sentenced to serve decades in prison. But if the story stops there, that would be an injustice. We can't let this be another case of two rotten apples that were rooted out and called to pay for their crimes. No, the story is deeper than that, much deeper. I refuse to treat this as a case of two rogue, prejudiced vigilantes that don't reflect the majority of the good, honest people in this nation. No, this is not merely two isolated, prejudiced men. You see, racism arises at the intersection of prejudice and power. And it's the power exhibited in this situation that deserves a much deeper look. Why were these men not arrested? We learned that was because the district attorney was friends with the father. They worked together for years. This is because the father retired from the district attorney's office. Before that, he was a local police officer. This district attorney, with obvious conflicts of interest, only recused himself after pressure from Ahmaud's mother, demanding that he leave the case. But before this district attorney recused himself, he found it necessary to write a letter to the police captain explaining why he believed an arrest wasn't warranted. He advised that the murderers acted within the law, and that Ahmaud's mental health records and prior convictions help explain his apparent aggressive nature. His apparent aggressive nature. This is the description that every black man I know is fully aware of. The moment we step out of the door, there are people who assume that we have this apparent aggressive nature. So we work hard to smile harder, to remove or reduce the bass in our voice and adjust our language to make others feel more comfortable. We wouldn't want them to assume that we too are aggressive. Naturally, the replacement district attorney also had to recuse herself because she worked with the father, but not before barring police from arresting the vigilantes. Are you seeing the picture here? We now have, in addition to the father and son, police officers, 2 district attorneys, and many other government employees who are aware of the details of this incident. The videos that we all recently saw had circulated amongst local authorities for months. Yet no one thought to bring these guys in. There are way more than 2 guilty people here. This racism, this combination of prejudice and power is deeply structural and institutionalized. We should receive the entire history of arrests and murders that took place under the watch of these people, of this town. And what's even more nerve-wracking is that this is not just one racist town. There are other Brunswick, Georgias scattered all around this nation. This is all indicative of America's great sin. And until we come to terms with that, there will continue to be more and more stories like this. The irony that this murder was committed by a father and son should not escape your notice. This type of hatred is taught, handed down from one generation to the next like some sort of sordid family heirloom. But it's time to tell a new story. It's why I won't even speak these racist names. The only names that matter in this story are those of Ahmaud, and it is his story that I will pass down to my son. Rest in peace, Ahmaud Arbery.